The story begins when Hayato receives news of the death of his grandmother Sachiko and returns to his hometown, where he is surprised to see 5 beautiful girls living in his house. Embarrassingly, Hayato accidentally sees their intimate parts, causing the girls to mistake him for a perverted thief. Hayato hurriedly explains that he is Sachiko's grandson and questions their origins. After the conversation, Hayato learns that the girls are part-time employees hired by Sachiko for the cafe. Since they had nowhere to go, the kind grandma allowed them to stay in the spare rooms in this house, and in exchange the girls treat Sachiko as their grandmother, even managing this funeral. However, as the real grandson of Sachiko, he hasn't been back for 3 years after an argument. The accusation of the girls makes him guilty, but anyway, he has planned to make this house a parking lot and wants them to leave as soon as possible. In order not to lose their home, the girls decide to set a honey trap on Hayato. Oka is the first girl to try. She deliberately dresses up as a maid and prepares fried chicken for Hayato. But her cooking skills are so bad that she gets ridiculed by Hayato. The next girl is named Amy. She dresses up very sexy and invites Hayato to go for a night run with her. However, Hayato dislikes her outfit and rejects her outright. After 2 failures in a row, the girls decide to relax his vigilance first. Hayato bathes very safely, and after that he meets a girl Akane smoking in the cafe. Akane is a freelancer and she writes songs every night here. Hayato reminds her not to smoke, which makes Akane feel he's not as annoying as he seems. While Hayato is getting ready to sleep, another girl, Shiragiku, appears. She seems to be drunk and gets very lustful, breaking into Hayato's room and trying to make out with him.
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
It's the first time Hayato has got up close and personal with a girl. He feels very shy. During this time, a girl named Riho hides in the doorway, trying to take photos of them as threats. Just then, Amy mistakenly thinks that Hayato wants to force Shiragiku to have further intimacy. She doesn't want Shiragiku to sacrifice so much and hurriedly stops them. As the girls' plans failed one after another, Hayato has brought in professionals to demolish the house. This is a large house, partly for the cafe and the rest for living. When the cafe sign is taken off, Hayato suddenly thinks of what Sachiko had said to him. The name of the cafe is Familia, which means family in Spanish, and the guests who come to the cafe are all their families. Hayato is touched and decides to leave the sign in honor of Sachiko. Akane notices the change and Hayato hurriedly asking Oka to prepare fried rice for him. This is the dish that Sachiko taught Oka, and Akane wants to remind Hayato of Sachiko's love for him. It works pretty well. While eating the fried rice, Hayato recalls a past related to the cafe. After the unexpected death of his parents, Sachiko borrowed money to open the cafe in order to raise Hayato. From an early age, Hayato vowed to give Sachiko a better life. He studied hard and was successfully admitted to the University of Tokyo, Japan's #1. Unfortunately, before he could make enough money, Sachiko passed away. After eating, Hayato learns through a conversation with Oka that Sachiko has passed away peacefully with them. Hearing this, Hayato again recalls a lot of memories about the cafe. In the end, he decides to take a year off from school and reopen the cafe. Therefore, the cohabitation of Hayato and the beautiful girls has officially begun, which is not so enjoyable for him at first, because in addition to being banned to hang his clothes close to the girls' underwear, he is often interrupted while taking a shower. The only moment that makes Hayato happy is when they eat together. This is Sachiko's agreement with the girls. Whatever unpleasant happens, they should always gather together when having meals. Before the cafe officially opens, Hayato organizes a drill. Shiragiku plays the clerk, Hayato makes the coffee, and the others act as customers. Hayato is confident in himself, but the coffee he makes is actually not good. Akane is the best coffee maker among them because it was Sachiko who taught her to make coffee. After tasting the coffee made by Akane, Hayato decides to learn coffee making techniques from her. After that, Hayato and Riho announce the cafe's reopening to their neighbors. Thinking that Hayato's attitude is not sincere enough, Riho offers to help communicate with the neighbors. With her help, neighbors all express their willingness to try their coffee. But during the process, Hayato's arrogant attitude angered Riho, who then warns him to be nice and patient to their customers, otherwise the cafe will never be accepted. Hayato realizes his mistake and decides to communicate with his neighbors again. In the process of getting along with the girls, Hayato encounters a very troublesome problem. Oka loves to do laundry, while Hayato's habit of putting socks and clothes together to wash causes Oka's displeasure, and they often quarrel about it. Riho doesn't want the customers to see them quarrel all the time when the cafe is officially open, so she tries to persuade Hayato to make a compromise. Hayato doesn't want to give the customers a bad impression either, thus deciding to reconcile with Oka by complimenting her. However, when Oka notices Hayato's weird expression, she mistakes him for mocking her and gets even angrier. Hayato is so troubled and has no idea about how to ease the tense relationship. Not until one night when Hayato stumbles upon Oka trying on a cafe uniform and praises the maid outfit bluntly with the same weird expression, but Oka unexpectedly becomes very happy. It turns out that she is a fashion design student and this maid outfit is her work. She has heard from Sachiko that Hayato was a man who never lied, so she is delighted to learn that Hayato recognizes her design. The day before the cafe's opening, Hayato pays the girls the previous month's salary in place of Sachiko. The money comes from the profits he made from stocks that he has held since high school. Receiving their salaries, the girls are all grateful to him. While Hayato is trying to practice making coffee, his phone and computer suffer an accident. Amy loves sports. While serving tea and holding dumbbells at the same time, she accidentally smashes Hayato's cell phone and computer. To make matters worse, the company that Hayato bought his stocks from is about to go bankrupt, and he misses the stock sell-off because of the computer failure. In the end, Hayato loses all his revolving fund and can only pin his hopes of making money on the cafe. Finally, it's the opening day, and both the uniforms and the taste of the coffee are well received. Hayato is determined to run the cafe well, so when the former creditor comes to mock him, he still tries to endure it. But he can't stand the man harassing the girls, thus throwing him out. This justice behavior gains him the favor of all the girls. Running a cafe well is not easy. After the opening days, there are fewer and fewer customers coming over. In order to increase the turnover, Hayato decides to participate in the Sakura festival by setting up a stall on weekends. Considering that there will be many vendors in the festival, they must develop new products to attract people. Shiragiku is the best chef of all, and she tries to make a liquor-flavored cookies. Although there isn't much alcohol in the cookies, she still gets drunk while tasting it. Fascinated by the smell of Hayato, Shiragiku hugs him tightly, wanting to have more intimate contact with him. Luckily, Riho notices Shiragiku's condition and hurriedly stops her. Because of this accident, Hayato's new recipe is at an impasse. To help, Hayato Akane brings out the cookie recipe she and Sachiko developed. On weekends, Hayato takes Amy and Oka to the Sakura festival where they encounter 3 gangsters trying to harass Oka. Fortunately, the vendors around are all friends of Sachiko, and they help with the siege, driving the gangsters away. But the crisis is not yet over. The gangsters felt very humiliated and secretly come back to smash their stalls. Hayato doesn't want to bow to the gangsters, coming up with another idea. He collaborates with Oka to transform a food cart and then asks Riho to post on social platforms that they would be selling coffee in a mobile cart. Also, he takes into account the issue of inventory. So when the coffee beans and cookies in the cart run out, Amy, who is good at sports, is arranged to run errands in the cafe. In the end, with Hayato's program, they achieved a high turnover. On the way home, they meet the 3 gangsters again. Hayato knows the law very well, and it's best for them not to initiate an attack. So he deliberately shows weakness and lets the gangsters punch him, and then he asks Amy to teach the gangsters a hard lesson, which is considered a legitimate defense. Also, to prevent the gangsters from continuing to harass them, Hayato records the whole process with his mobile phone. Oka is amazed by Hayato's thorough plan, and when he says he just doesn't want those gangsters to smash the coffee cart she made, she feels touched. So don't forget to give me a like and subscribe to my channel. I will bring more exciting anime in the future. Thanks for watching. Bye.